Hello learners, welcome to program Certificate in Food and Nutrition Course 1. Let us preserve food. We will be talking about preservation of food. It's in Block 2, Unit 10. Myself, Dr. Shalini Kushwaha, Discipline of Nutritional Science, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. After studying this unit, you will be able to define the meaning of food preservation, list common causes of food spoilage, classify the foods on the basis of their perishability, describe common methods of food preservation, and you can list the different foods and match them with the methods by which they can be preserved and stored. So let's learn why to preserve food. We preserve and store foods when they are produced and available in plenty so that we can use them when they are not in season, are less easily available and therefore expensive. Delay in the use of fresh foods alters the freshness, taste, and nutritive value of these foods. Thus, they become less desirable and ultimately unfit for consumption. There is a classification of food depending upon the perishability. According to this, food is preserved. So, first is non-perishable food. They do not spoil easily and can be stored under proper conditions for several months. It includes whole cereals, pulses, oilseeds, and many more. Second is semi-perishable food. As the name suggests, they can be kept for about a week to a month time. It includes flour, roasted oil seeds, biscuits, potatoes, onions. Then last is perishable foods. They cannot be kept for more than a day or two without affecting their quality. Their taste, flavor and color may change. It includes milk, milk products, eggs, meat, fish and vegetables. So let's learn about food preservation, what it is. Food preservation is a process by which certain food like fruits and vegetables are preserved, prevented from spoilage for a long period of time. The color, texture, taste and nutritive value of foods is also preserved. Why to preserve food? We need to preserve food to add variety to the meal. Food produced in excess can be preserved and used later in the year when it is expensive and not available. For example, you have seen tomatoes. Tomatoes are processed into sauces or ketchup. Processed foods can be transported to areas where food is not grown or available. Processed foods make transportation and storage of foods easy as they reduce the bulk and occupy less space. Processed foods are an asset during times like war, famine, floods, where people need to be fed in large numbers. So let's learn about what is food spoilage. Food spoilage is deterioration in the color, flavor, odor or consistency of a food product due to agents which make it unacceptable for human consumption. What are the causes of food spoilage? What causes food spoilage? There are three types by which food spoilage is caused. First is microbial growth, second is enzyme action, and third is insects and rodent damage. Microorganisms causes molding, fermentation, and putrefaction in the food. These microorganisms are usually found on the skin or outer layer of food, and they penetrate inside the food only when the outer covering has been broken. Next, what enzymes do? Enzymes are found in all fresh foods, like they are found in fruits and vegetables. They are very important for the ripening of fruits and vegetables. However, if this action of enzymes continues even after the fruits and vegetables have become fully ripe, it brings about decomposition or undesirable changes, which leads to soft spots, offensive flavor in the food. These initial symptoms are caused by enzymes, and then microorganisms can grow on such damaged vegetable tissues and causes fermentation. Third, that is insects and rodents. Rodents, worms, weevils, bugs, fruit flies and moth damage food. They not only eat away food but also spoil it by their excreta. The cuts caused by these worms and insects on food, which serves as pathway by which microorganisms reach the interior of the food and which leads to food spoilage. Methods of food preservation aim at destroying the agents of food spoilage or slowing down their activity. An effective method of food preservation is the one that slows down or prevent the action of agents of spoilage without damaging the food or adding harmful substances, and we can preserve food by controlling temperature, humidity and sunlight, also by preventing damage by insects and rodents. Let's learn about methods of preserving perishable and semi-perishable foods. Before that, we should learn what are the aim of food preservation. First is safety from pathogenic organisms or toxicity through chemicals. And second is maintenance of optimum quality of color, texture, flavor and nutritive value. So, first method for food preservation is cold storage. Food can be kept for long periods of time in commercial cold storage rooms at proper humidity and very low temperature. Fruits and vegetables in cold storage are kept just above the point at which they freeze, while butter and meat may be kept at much lower temperatures. Next method is freezing. A large variety of foods can be preserved by freezing. When the foods are frozen, the bacteria are unable to grow and the enzyme action is retarded or inactivated by blanching prior to freezing. Before preserving food by freezing, one should select the foods with quality and maturity, blanch vegetables to inactivate enzymes, then cool and pack foods in polythene bags or moisture-proof wrapping foils, waxed paper or cellophane. Make small packs so that the entire package can be frozen quickly. Next method is refrigeration. Most commonly used method of preserving food is refrigeration in our household. Food like meat, fish, poultry can be stored in the refrigerator for several days, while milk, curd and cheese can be stored for 2 to 3 days. Vegetables and fruits can be stored for several days in refrigerator without altering their texture, color, flavor and nutritive value. In order to ensure their crispness, these must be stored in polythene bags. Foods must be covered and place milk and other animal products in the coldest part of the refrigerator. Next important method of preserving is heat treatment. It includes boiling, sterilization, pasteurization and canning. Microorganisms are killed or inactivated by heat. This is the principle in this method. The more intense the heat treatment, the more effective the destruction of organisms. Let's learn about canning. Foods are sterilized in a few minutes or even seconds by the application of high temperature processing in canning. Pasteurization. Heat application process by which most of the organisms in milk or butter are killed. Food is subjected to high temperature for a short time and then cooled immediately. This helps to increase the duration over which the quality of milk and butter can be maintained. Since all microorganisms are not killed, these foods must be stored under conditions which are unfavorable to their growth. You must have seen milk that is pasteurized in packets. Next is curries and pulses, when kept outside for a few hours, are boiled vigorously to prevent spoilage. These are preserved by boiling and most microorganisms are killed by boiling temperature. Next method of preservation is dehydration. Water is removed to increase the shelf life of the food. The principle of dehydration is that microorganisms are unable to grow in the absence of moisture. A few foods have very little moisture, like greens and pulses. Yet, it is necessary to dry these to less than 12% moisture in order to prevent spoilage. Foods preserved by this method include immature legumes, vegetables and fruits such as raw mangoes, figs, raisins, apricots, amla, green leafy vegetables like methi, potatoes, carrots, turnip, cauliflowers and many more. Certain foods like roots and tubers, papad, fish, peas, bitter gourd are processed. That is, either they are boiled in water or salted before they are dehydrated through conventional method of sun drying. Spray drying is mechanical method of drying milk to form a fine powder which can be reconstituted with water to make fluid milk whenever required. This helps in reduction in weight and therefore can be conveniently stored and transported. Next method of preservation is chemical preservation. We preserve like pickles, jams, jellies and fruit preserves. The effect of preservation is that various methods used in preserving foods in the form of pickles, jams, inactivate the microorganisms by making the water unavailable for the growth of these microorganisms. This could be done by various methods. It includes use of salt and sugar, use of acid, use of oil and wax, and use of chemical preservatives. So let's learn about use of salt and sugar. Vegetables and fruits are often preserved by this method. This method involves either submerging of fruits or vegetables like amla, mangoes in brine solution. Brine solution is a salt solution. Or adding or rubbing salt onto those vegetables in high concentration. The presence of salt in high concentration reduces the availability of water. Submerging of cut and blanched fruits in sugar syrup is done in fruit preserves, restrict the microbial growth and thus preserve the fruit. Next is use of acid. Strong acidic medium is not conducive for the survival of microbes. Use of vinegar or lemon juice is effective in preservation of vegetables, ketchups and tomato sauce. Third method, that is use of oil and wax. Wax and oil form a protective layer which shuts out moisture and oxygen in the air from coming in contact with the food they coat. It is used for coating fruits such as lemon, apples, apricots. It is a common practice to rub castor oil on grains and pulses so as to coat these with a thin layer of oil which enhances the keeping quality. When oil is used in pickles, a top layer of oil is formed which prevent moisture or microorganisms in the air from coming in contact with the food. Next method is use of chemical preservatives. It includes calcium propionate, potassium metabisulfate, sodium benzoate, benzoic acid, sulfur dioxide. They must be used with great caution as they could be toxic if not used in proper concentration. It is especially used in preservation of grains. Next method is radiation. Radiation like gamma rays and ultraviolet rays, that is UV rays, are used in preservation of bread and cake products and packaging of bacon, meat and cheese in Western countries. These radiations are, however, mainly used to kill and reduce microorganisms in the air, in the storage or in processing room. Now, we have learned till now preservation of perishable and semi-perishable foods. Now we will learn about preserving non-perishable foods. They should be clean and thoroughly dry, especially pulses and grains, for storage. These should be stored in a clean, dry and airtight containers. Add indigenous substances like neem leaves, turmeric, or coat the pulses and grains with oil to protect these from microorganisms and insects. Ensure that the room in which these foods are stored is well ventilated and free from leakages, cracks and crevices in the wall to avoid seepage of water and have a cemented floor also. To prevent rodent attack, we should use baits and traps. We should check the stored grains and pulses periodically. When find these infested, must remove the stalk of the grain and clean it up and sun dry before restoring it. We should take care not to mix up old stock with the fresh one. So let's sum up what we have learned till now. Depending on the degree of perishability, foods can be categorized as non-perishable, semi-perishable and perishable foods. Main causes of food spoilage are microbial growth, action of microorganisms, enzyme action, damage by insects and rodents. Preservation of food aims at destroying the agents of food spoilage or slowing down their activity. Preservation helps in storing the foods when the availability of food is in plenty, so as to use these at a time when they are less easily available and are expensive. Commonly used method for preservation are cold storage, freezing, refrigeration, boiling, sterilization, pasteurization, canning, dehydration, chemical preservation and dry storage for preserving and storing variety of foods. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this session.